Hey ho people and welcome to HOTFIX. So yesterday we recorded an episode of HOTFIX which didn't actually go live on the channel. Now this episode of HOTFIX completely focused on the tragic incidents recently in America. So we're talking the mass shootings. Now we're not going to give names of the people who've done this or any of these incidents that have happened in the past because to be honest, fuck them people. We're not giving them any kind of publicity because they're a bunch of tossers. And that's kind of lie as well, Mr. Kirioth. I could be very more aggressive, much more aggressive.
I think,
but I shall not be so.
Yeah, they want the attention, and we're not going to give it to them.
Yeah, so bollocks to them. So I wasn't entirely happy with the way that turned out, and so what we've done is recorded this one. So we're going to focus on. Well, we've got a snazzy title. So blame the game. It's mainstream media versus violent games, and what we want to kind of analyse and debate and look at is, well, it is simply why does the mainstream media blame violent video games every time this happens? Without fail, they always blame violent games, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's hilariously StarCraft 2 recently. They always do it. Now, there must be a reason why they do this. So what I want to do is talk about that, but I also want to talk about some of the reasons. Well, let's just, before we end up getting confused, let's just go into it, Mr. Kirioth.
So the main thing that I think about this is that I think there's a generational gap between the people who run the mainstream media and obviously the people like us who play games. The age range for playing games is kind of between sort of 15 and 35. In fact, isn't 35 the most? The age range of the most people who play games. Yeah. And I mean, admittedly, I don't have a massive amount of experience in the world of newspapers or television news or news desks, but I'm assuming that you're not going to find 35-year-olds in editing positions in those jobs. Like if you look at like the Telegraph or the Guardian or whatever, any of the UK papers, I don't recall any of them being sort of youngish guys turning up to work in a sharp suit. Being of the kind of age where after a hard day at work, they'd go home and play Call of Duty. I think,
and even if they were, the people who own these papers and these media outlets are not going to be that young anyway. So it's old media. We're new media. We totally clash. It's new versus the old.
It's people who haven't experienced games, and so they don't have a frame of reference for them. So they haven't experienced Call of Duty, they haven't experienced StarCraft 2. All they know is that these are interactive things whereby you can perform violent actions. So when someone in the real world performs a violent action and they have at some point played this game, the link seems to be being made that this is a person I do not understand doing something I do not understand, and in their spare time they did something I don't understand. It's lumping things that they have no experience of together because they have no grasp of them. That's what it feels like. It feels like I don't get games. I don't get why someone who plays games would hurt people in real life. Therefore, the two must be connected. It's like finding a common evil that...
So I've actually done a bit of research on this, and I've been asking people who are considerably older than me within my family, and I've said to them, what do you make of this? Do you think the fact that this person has played this game has resulted in them doing this, terrible atrocity or committing the atrocity? And what I seem to get from them is I think where the link is being made is if this person is so twisted they want to go out and commit mass murder, they can fantasize about that playing a game as they're running around shooting people, and then they've got a good idea of what it's like to do it because they've played it in a game, and then they then go off and do it. And that's where I think this connection is being made. And I mean, we know it's totally stupid, and it's like, no, that's just not right. These people have obviously got some sort of mental condition which has resulted in them doing that, and they're always going to do that. This is a very loose example, but there's been a spate of slashings in China over recent years. There was actually one quite recently as well. But again, we're not going to throw names about and stuff like that. But basically, a guy turns up and he starts slashing people with knives. Now, it's very unlikely that guy's ever played any games before in his life. And in fact, you could You could compare this to loads of things. You know, people who just commit murders anyway. Have they played games? You know,
that is actually
it's
something
such a ridiculous thing to say. Oh, you've played a violent video game, so this has suddenly flipped a switch in your head and sent you off to go and commit massive crimes. Now, this is where it gets a bit like I want to be as like unbiased as possible. I don't want to just sit here and go, no, you're a fucking idiot, because okay, games are violent, but you have to be a pissing retard to even think that, you know, that this is awesome. This is my fantasy. I'm going to go and carry this out in real life, because you just have to be a total knobhead to do that. But there may be people out there where it does flip a switch and it does, suddenly they think, you know what, I'm going to go and do this, and then they go and do it. So you could argue that violent video games were the catalyst in that example, but this has never been proven. And I think with the media, it's sort of something they just like to do. It's like, oh, okay, it must be a game. You know, I've read, I don't read The Sun, but I've seen the Sun newspaper, and it said Black Ops 2 was to blame for the recent shooting. It's like, what? Millions and millions of people play Black Ops 2. You know, millions of people watch the telly. Millions and millions of people listen to music. Some of these people will commit crimes. They'll commit murder. God knows what. Is that because they've listened to that piece of music or that thing on a telly? Oh, God.
I think also there also seems to be a ridiculous thing of the media gives these people what they crave, which is attention. Even the ones who you know, they
only do it for their own gain. The media, they only do it for their own gain.
Yeah, it's because it's news. It's a hot topic. Everyone's talking about the fact that this horrendous thing has happened, and so the overriding thing is we must be we must be accurate. The overriding thing is we need to basically say this is why he did it. So what do? They find his interests. They find the things that he liked doing. They find his friends, and they say, was there anything wrong with him? And straight away, as soon as someone says, well, we used to play StarCraft 2 together, oh, well, StarCraft 2 is violent, that must be it. That's not research. That's not proper journalism. It's sensationalist reporting. It's finding a topic and then just ramming stuff onto it because you need to report it. And
here's an example for you. So Kirioth, he's a criminal now, and he's gone off and he's burgled some old lady's house because he's a scumbag like that, right? Right. So I'm the journalist. Oh, it looks like Kirioth drives a Toyota. That must be why he's a burglar, because he drives a Toyota. It's just the same. It's just as loosely connected. A car's a killing machine on 4 wheels. That's made him aggressive. That is just what, like, when I see these news reports, that is what goes through my head. It's like, I know it's coming and I'm waiting for it to come, and it's like, oh dear, he plays video games, they're violent. Oh, that must have resulted in him wanting to go out and commit these crimes. It's just so unbelievable.
And they always wheel out these sort of fucking 10p academics as well, don't they? Oh, we have so-and-so from tiny university that no one's ever heard of, and he has been studying this. Tell me, doctor, you don't have a real degree. Is this common? Do violent video games cause violence? Yes, they do, all the time. All the studies show that they do. Yeah. Would you like to provide proof? No. It's like they never provide anything. There's studies have shown. What studies? Show me the studies. Show me any of the things you have reported. It's just conjecture. It's not fact. It's not provable. It's just circumstantial bullshit, basically.
It is, yeah. It is absolute bullshit. And, like, you know, you can say things like, maybe guns are to blame. Maybe the fact, you know, most of these shootings go down in the US, it's because they've got such a, you know, it's so easy to get a hold of a weapon. But I think that's bollocks as well, because there are countries like Switzerland. I think you've got some statistics available there, Kirioth. But they, slap my microphone. Well, in my rage, I'm going like this with my hands and slapping the thing.
Flailing. Switzerland has, per capita, so per 100 people, 45 guns. When was the last time we heard about Switzerland having some sort of mass shooting? You know, how often does that happen over there? When was the last... I mean, their gun crime statistics are hilariously low for the number of guns they've got. They've got an absurd number of guns. But weirdly, people don't feel the need to go out and, you know, shoot the place up.
So why is this?
Obviously,
but why is this? Well, I mean, in my eyes, there's probably two main things. So you've got healthcare issues and most probably political issues. So if we take the US as an example, I know their healthcare system is nothing like what we've got in the UK. If somebody is beginning to be depressed, yeah, they can easily go down to the local health centre. You know, I mean, in my example, the local health centre is literally 5 minutes away, and it's massive. Like, it's there must be like 20 doctors in residence there. It's massive. It's one of the best things the UK's got going for it. You can, if you need to see a doctor, you can just go and see a doctor. There's no waiting, there's no messing about. You just turn up and it's like, okay, I need to see a doctor. Same day job. I'm feeling a bit depressed, yada yada. Okay, we'll do this, we'll do that. You know, they may give you pills, they may do something, but you're in the system then, and you'll eventually see a psychiatrist if it's as bad as that. I mean, I don't know. I've got no personal experience of it, but that's how it works because I've obviously got other dodgy health problems, and that's how it's kind of worked for me. You know, going up through the tears. Is that available in the US? So is this guy who's committed these terrible crimes? He's had no treatment. If he'd had treatment, there would be no crime. That is almost, to me, a fact. Now, the other thing with the political issues is, okay, you've got things like the National Rifle Association in America, which does like to publicise weapons as amazing things everybody should have. And I'm pretty sure I've seen a thing once where it was they were effectively saying that if you've got a weapon, go and shoot your weapon because that helps with anger issues, which is kind of retarded because it's like, well, surely... I mean, I could see where they're coming from. It could be a release maybe, but not to a crazy person because they go and shoot a person with it as their anger release. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I'll let you chip in, Kiri, before I sort of, because I could almost wrap it up there and then, but I don't want to. I want to hear what you've got to say.
Well, I think one of the reasons we see a lot of it in the US is that even with this latest case, and again, we're not going to name names, but in this latest case, there's the reports that, you know, people said, well, his parents were recommended that his college fund be spent on a psychiatrist and stuff, which to me suggests that the care isn't readily available. You know,
Yeah.
there's a definite outlay for these things. There is kind of in the UK in that you pay your taxes and so you get to see a doctor. But, you know, it's not quite the same. It's not like if you go and see the doctor, you cannot have further education. You know, there's not really a trade-off. Whereas that's the impression that I get. I don't know the ins and outs of the American health system.
Isn't it going under reform? But as I say, we don't actually know. I mean, it's the Obama bill or something with it. But it's still hundreds of thousands, ain't it? If you have anything done, you know, you're looking at...
Yeah, the general gist of it is that it costs. Even if you get an ambulance, it costs to get an ambulance. It costs for treatment. So it's like you've got a choice. Do you spend your money to see a psychiatrist now, which could, you know, cure you? It could make you better. It could take all of those negative problems and sort them out, and risk not having any prospects for the future because, you know, you've then got no money to go to college or university or whichever one comes first in the US. It always confuses me, that does. And, you know, what do you do? Do you spend that money now to get the care that could, like, potentially save you and or other people? Or is that like another part of stigma? Maybe you don't want to because, oh, well, he spent all his money on getting psychiatric care. Yeah. He's clearly a nutter. Stay away from him. Is that a part of it? I mean, mental health issues are... I mean, there's something very close to my heart because it's like they don't get as much attention as they deserve. They don't get it here. They don't get it anywhere else. So could it be a mix of the care's not readily available, you've got to pay for the care to get it if you do dare go for it, and people don't dare go for it because there's such a stigma attached to it. You know, you don't want to be friends with him. He's depressed. You know, stuff like that. Could that be part of it? And if that's the case, politics can help. A reform of the health system can help. Just having a support group so that, you know, you can go and say, I am not a happy person. This is going badly wrong. I need help. You know, would that stop this kind of thing happening? I don't know. It's like there's a ton of questions about it, and it's very easy for people to sit there and blame games, and it's very easy to sit there and blame guns. But the fact is that to even consider doing something like what's happened recently, you've got to be ill. You've got to be crazy.
You have got to be a crazy bastard to even contemplate it. So what we've tried to do, guys, is like highlight the reasons why the mainstream media seems to want to just absolutely always bring out the violent game argument, which is just, we know it's bullshit. It's just absolute bollocks. But also try and put forward some solutions to the problem. You know, why do these people actually do this in the first place? I mean, please comment below, take part in the discussion. As ever, with all hotfixes, we do read the comments and we will reply. So I think we'll leave it at that, Mr. Kirioth, because quite frankly, we've got better things to do than talk about some assholes who fucking commit these terrible crimes. We'll catch you later, people. Toodaloo.